A very good evening to all our delegates. I, Dr. Tushar Arya, would like to welcome you all on behalf of Ishan Institute of Management and Technology to today's FDP session, Day 4, Empowering Managerial Education, Integrating AI in Education and Assessment. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. Today, we have two very esteemed guests who will be presenting on the topics. Dr. Prerna Sethia and Dr. Ashutosh Yadav, thank you so much for joining in. And I'll pass on the mic to Dr. Bhavna ji to introduce our first guest today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I am Bhavna Chauhan, Assistant Professor at Ishan Institute of Management and Technology. Before we begin with the session, let me walk you through a few important guidelines. A Microsoft Form attendance link is shared in the WhatsApp group for every session, and participants are required to fill it using their registered ATAL details to ensure the mandatory 80% attendance, along with marking their attendance in the chat box by mentioning their name, designation, and the institute. However, it has been observed that several participants have not marked their attendance in the Microsoft form as per their ATAL registration records. Hence, all the participants are requested to strictly use their same name, email ID, and the phone number provided during ATAL registration to ensure their attendance is duly recorded. An online test will be conducted on the last day through the ATAL portal, and a minimum score of 70% is required to qualify. Please fill the feedback form shared in the group after each session. Thank you for your attention to the guidelines. Now, let us move forward with our program. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished resource person for session 7 of day 4, Dr. Professor Prerna Sethia. She is currently serving as the director of the Center for Distance and Online Education at Marwadi University, Rajkot, Gujarat. She holds a PhD in management with specialization in neuromarketing, an MBA in marketing and finance, and an MCom from Punjab University. With over a period of diverse experience in academia and corporate sectors, she has worked with prestigious institutions such as Chandigarh University, Lingyas Vidyapeeth, and CGC Group of Colleges. Her expertise spans digital pedagogy, instructional design, online and distance education management, supply chain management, CRM, and human resource analytics. She has ample of publications, patents, and book chapters, including her revolutionary work on neuromarketing, artificial intelligence in human capital management, and generative AI applications. Today, she will be sharing her valuable insights on ethical considerations and practical implications of AI in education, a topic of immense importance in today's rapidly evolving academic landscape. Let us extend a very warm welcome to Professor Dr. Prerna Sethia. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Bhavna.
Thank you.
Yeah, so should I proceed right now? Will that work?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So before I share my screen and start up with the things, a heartfelt thank you to you, Bhavna. And that was really pleasure having my introduction from your end and setting up the tone for the same. It was quite appropriate, the way you set up the guidelines as well as the introduction, a perfect one. Thank you. And I also appreciate the Ishan Educational Institute, the way you are working for the faculty development program and bringing up such amazing as well as these such relatable topics, which are very relevant in today's scenario. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I would also like to thank the management as well as the people who coordinated with me, specifically Deepak for being patient with me, and Dr. Harinderjeet Kaur and Dr. Tushar Shukla. Thank you so much for being there and with us. Now let me just share my screen so that we can just move ahead with the same. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So before I move on to the slides and we start talking about this very particular one, when we talk about the ethical considerations and even the practical implementation, before jumping onto the topic, let us just give a glimpse of all about this, why we are doing this, and somewhere how it arises up. And let me just give a brief idea about it. So we are right presently, when I talk about this, we are at a standing point at a crossroad. So when I talk about a crossroad of education and technology, and when I talk about AI, it is no longer a buzzword. So when I talk about the buzzword, it means that something that is really new or something which is happening very relevantly. But as we are moving ahead and as we are talking about the technology integrations, so AI is no longer a buzzword. It is something which is happening, and it has been happening from a couple of years right now. So, see, we have made it a taboo or a boom around. That is what I feel exactly. We have made a taboo or a boom around the word artificial intelligence. So, if I take you a little bit back from the artificial intelligence, it is not like that the technology was not having the changes over a period of time or developing over a period of time. There were things which were happening in the past also. Similarly, there are things which are happening right now as well. So when we are talking about AI, for me, it is just an a technology. It is something which is bringing the things more closer. Before and prior to that, robotics was already there. We were doing data analytics. We were doing cloud computing. So all these terms that I have just now mentioned up were already existing. So what we are doing, we are just refining. We are just improving the things. So when we talk about AI specifically, so maybe for some people, it is something like a revolutionary change. For some, it may be like a kind of a change which is going to bring a lot of differences. But when we talk about in education specifically, and the context that I'm going to talk about today, it is a boom only. So we will be discussing that. And today we are standing at that particular crossroad where education and technology, specifically AI, has to be integrated together. So when we talk about it specifically in the terms of managerial educations, which are there, the agility, specifically when I talk about the agility, the strategy and the leadership that we are integrating, AI is no longer an option. So trust me on this when we talk about it, that is it an option that we need to have, or is there are going to be some other, yeah, there are going to be more prominent changes. So ultimately, when we talk about it, it is not an option that we are going to have. So change is the only constant. So with that, I would like to start with the thing that it is an essential component that we need to inculcate. And you now must have seen also the education is also rapidly changing. And when I talk about rapidly changing, it is changing from the way we used to do it. So let us just talk about the education that we were getting it. So there was a generation thing that the way we got it. And now the things are changing when it comes to schooling part, when it comes to higher education part. So education is also changing up. So it is no more that same kind of a thing, and it has become an essential and a very relevant topic for today's part. So as I'm going to talk about ethics, so it is not only about the ethics in AI, it is also about the ethics in education. Do you really think, that is a question that I have, do we really think without ethics, leave AI, leave the AI part or the technological part, leave that, do without ethics even the education system works? I think the answer should be no for that. So even the education system does not work without, if we talk about the ethics part. So ethics is not only something which is relevant for AI, it is relevant when we talk about the day-to-day practice as well. And as we are taking this session, and I would request to make it more interactive, if we can have the chat box open and we can have questions in and around that, so that we can make it a more discussion from end to end and can have more queries and concerns that we're ready to talk about as I would be taking this further. So yeah, we were on the AI part. So ethics is something that I feel like it is not only that has to be considered when I talk about the only thing which is your AI, it has to be considered generally as well, because see, education is and will always be a noble profession. That is what I consider. And if we as teachers and if we as professor can take that forward, so we have some legendary professors that we have been taught from. So something that it is something that we have to impact the life of others. So ethics is something that you really need to focus upon. So having said that, let us just move on to what I have to talk about here. So let us talk about the introduction part. So when I talk about the introduction, It is like AI is reshaping education across the globe. So you must have seen that there is a lot of changes which is happening. And when I talk about the changes that is happening, it is not only happening in the country that we are into, but it is globally that you could see that these changes are there and it is happening. And when there is a global phenomena for something, that means it has to be adapted, and there has to be some like positive outcomes that need to be taken from it. So it is not only the reshaping the education, but it is something which is going to be inculcated into each and every aspect. So when I talk about across the globe, is it happening? Let us talk about some of the very prominent institutes and how they are doing it. When I talk about AI, you must have heard for the universities like Harvard's and Stanford's also. Everybody must have heard about them. So you must have seen, like I was privileged enough to check some of the contents and material and to work along in that area. So what I've noticed down is with AI, they are developing beautiful simulations models. They are developing the most advanced, you can say, the technically more oriented model. So the way now the education is going to be shaped, the way it is going to be provided and on the online as well as your traditional front, and the way we are going to inculcate the robotics as well as AI as well as these kind of tools into it, it will become a global phenomena all around. And all the top leading institutes and all the top leading the examples that I'm quoting, and all those kind of institutes and universities across the globe are doing wonderful job into this. So now when we talk about this is happening around the globe, so there's going to be a scenario which is going to be there in India as well. So having said that, let's move on to opportunities. So is it going to be an opportunity or is this something just going to take from you? So it depends completely on the person and the way you look forward towards it. For me, it is like an opportunity. It is going to be efficiency when I talk about the personalization and analytics. Let me just take and break this out, each and every point out for you. So when I talk about efficiency out here, have you ever seen these kind of tools are not only providing you the ideas, it is expanding your horizon. So you must have seen this thing, okay, somewhere using these kind of things is not only improving your efficiency, it is making you more efficient as well as effective when it comes to work. So I personally believe these kind of tools, and there are many tools, we will be just talking about the tools also that can be used. So when I talk about these kind of tools, in your day-to-day life practices, if you start using them in a very ethically and in a proper way, so these are the helping tools which are going to be there. So earlier we used to be dependent upon so many other things and we used to require resources. Now things are there on the click of your, like on the click of a button. So when I say that, you must have observed this also, practicing this also into your day-to-day life, that it has made us more efficient. It has not made us dependent. So it completely is into your thought process, the way you are using it. Is it opening more doors for you? Is it opening more horizons for you? So that completely depends. Another one thing is when we talk about the opportunities, it is very personalized. Now, when I talk about personalization and we are talking about the AI tools, now where does the AI and personalization comes? So you can work on your own pace. You can work on your own speed. You can do it as the time convenient to you. You can also work upon the area or the domain that suits you. So it is again an advanced version which is personally helping you out and personally working out for you. My goals, my desires, my particular things could be different from every individual. So what I feel is with the culture of AI and with the progression of AI that we are having, it is more of a personalized tool which is going to be there for each and everybody. And the most important work and the way I am particularly using is it into the analytics field part and the analytics part only. So when I talk about analytics, see, data analytics is a vast thing. And when we use tools and when we go into the depth of analytics, maybe it is data analytics, but maybe it is another one. So AI is not only simplifying that for you, but giving you a kind of an perspective and giving you a kind of an exact thing which area you need to work. So anything which is backed by data, anything which is backed up by the statistics is more, you can say, believable and more authentic. So these are the areas, if ultimately used properly, and if you can just go by the analytics of it, it will be bringing that kind of a change. Now, having said that, also there is going to be challenges. So nothing comes easy. So when nothing comes easy, there comes the kind of challenges that we will be talking about. So the first one comes up is ethics. See, why we are talking about ethics? Because whenever there is a data or personal things involved, there is a data privacy which is involved. So that is also one of the component. Another one we talk about is equity. When I talk about equity, how are you, how like available these things are to you, or how equally divided these kind of resources are to you, and maybe the way you are using those kind of resources. And also along with that comes your accountability part. And when comes about accountability, see, everything has a repercussion. When I talk about the repercussions, there would be things that would be like the pros as well as the cons of it. So ethics, equity available, and the accountability and how you are using that. You must have read about a lot of cases, a lot of breaches which has happened, and you must have seen there were multiple breaches what happens when it comes to your data, when it comes to your privacy, when it comes to the way we are using these kind of resources. Recently, there's a very common tool that I can just name it out here. I think it will be relatable to everybody, ChatGPT. So that is how the journey, and now like a lot of things have moved on. Like Perplexity is there. There's a lot of other tools. Let's talk about ChatGPT out here. So ChatGPT had one concern now. What concern was that? I'm just quoting one case, real an example out here, because we are talking about the accountability part, we are talking about the equity part out here. They just raised one concern as they're recording that data. So they are finding out that the data, the kind of questions and the kind of, and the way it has been used, the ChatGPT is being used, a lot of personal data is being recorded there. Now, how that they're recording, people are maybe using it for therapy, people are using it for taking up suggestions. So they are putting up their personal details. So as you go to a therapist, whatever details that you give to your therapist, it's like a personal thing, and it is a very confidential content that that your therapist and you only have it, or you only share it. But now the things are being used way and far beyond. So a lot of data they are collecting, and they're able to have it up because personal details are being shared on such apps. So there has to be an accountability, there has to be a system which is more prominently keeping a watch and an eye on such kind of data. So now US government as well as the data and privacy and breach agencies are working on it and trying to provide a solution for this kind of concerns as well. So into the introduction part only, let us talk about the goals of this very particular section. So I'm going to discuss about, and I'm going to leave it to you to decide about it, that we're going to explore both the ethical as well as the practical perspective of it. So how ethical is it, and where is it going to lead, how we can use it, what are the tools which are going to be there, and also the practical perspective of it. So when I talk about the practical perspective, I would be surely raising up the things that the way it should be used, what kind of tools that could be used, and how it could be helpful to you, and what should be the ethical areas, the way students or the learners should be using it. So how we should be teaching them also. So when I talk about management education specifically here, let us just be on this very particular slide only. So when I talk about the management education, it is one of those very prominent and important and significant area. So what AI exactly has to offer to the management and the management education when I talk about? So if we are really into it, I will just say the artificial intelligence, what it offers to the management education when we are specifically focusing on the management education part. I would say firstly, a personalization. The way personalization here is, it is making up the content as well as the perspective from person to person. So it is a service that you're having, or the usage that you're having, which is very much as per the person to person. So it is a very, the services are exclusive, and exclusive is like keeping you in mind, keeping your thoughts in mind, keeping your requirements in mind. So it is tailor made, it is custom made. So ultimately, it is giving you an aspect of personalization ahead. It is giving you an assessment efficiency. So earlier, what we used to do, so let's talk about that. Earlier is how we used to calculate the assignments, how we used to calculate the performances of persons. Now when we talk about the assessment part, especially if you see the AI tools, the way they work, the way they provide the recommendation to the learners, the way it is telling them how they can improve into a particular area, and what are the ways, how can they improve. I can tell you this thing like right now, maybe you need to work upon this thing. Yeah. Uh, Let me even give you an example to this thing. For example, I'm also using one of the apps which is AI related. For it is known as Duolingo. So I hope some of you must have heard of it. So see how the technology and how AI is building and helping things. To learn up French, I took up this app. So there are stages into that. You register, and it is working beautifully. So similarly, when I was quoting this example, it will tell you how to do it. You can say that you need to learn a language, you need to improve, or you need to do certain things, but how to do that? What are the ways to do that? So this is not only it is going to tell you what, it is also going to tell you how. So this way, I really believe and hope that when I talk about the assessment efficiency, if you inculcate into the work and if you do it in a very proper and ethical way, it is a beautiful tool. Another one that comes up is decision making. So there is always a part which comes up when we feel like that there are two ways or two options that we are having, and there is no clarity that we are able to get. Sometimes we feel that there is an equal kind of an probability which is coming up. So not only into decision making, it is going to help you. It is going to tell you how effective it is and why this should be chosen. So it could always be taken as a second opinion to ensure that your thought and your thinking are aligned into the same direction, and you derive result also after that. I have personally used these kind of tools when there is something that I was reading about. Maybe it is a new policy which is coming up, when there are going to be some regulations which are changes up, and if there is example, if there is something happening into the UGC as well as the DAB policies that I was reading, so there is a lot that can be you can just analyze that, have a thinking perspective over it, and this is how it works out. Another thing is what is a good part about is when we are into it, it is like a data driven thing. So anything when it is data driven, when it has analytics is being done, so you become more sure about it, you become more confident about it, and it is proven by the results. So we just do not go like haywire, oh, this may happen or this might not happen. These are the result oriented things and has been provided. So that way, I always believe that if you go and consider that part, obviously, but once you will be including the data into it and doing the analytics part of it, it will have its own implications, and you have to have the security point of view attached to it. And if there is going to be a breach happen, that means there is a lot of you can say the privacy is going to be bothered. I think we have a lot of things going on in the chat. Just give me a second. I'll just go through that. If there is anything important, I will just take it up. I was just seeing that there is a lot going on into the chat. Okay, this is all related to the glimpse that I had. I think it is all related to the attendance that we are marking. Perfectly works out for me. And now let us go with the competitiveness part. When I talk about the next portion that I wanted to talk about, competitiveness. See, if we are going to change, we are not going to use it. That does not mean the world is not going to use it. That doesn't mean the world is not going to be like ultimately you will be the one who will be outdated. You will be the one who is not changing rapidly as per the scenarios or as per the demand of the time. So it's only making you outdated. So ultimately, it is a choice that needs to be taken up, the route that has to be taken up, because the world is going to do that. So competitiveness is going to be there. The way we teach, the way we are, maybe the way we have been taught, or even the others, it is going to change now. So ultimately, that's the part. So as I'm moving ahead, let us talk about the AI in education today. So when I talk about AI in education, so what is it doing? So exactly adaptive learning platforms. I don't know how much have you seen that thing. Let me quote an example out here for you. There are a lot of schools and a lot of, you can say, even the NCRT and CBSE curriculum, we are just talking about the basics. They have adapted this kind of learning platforms. They have inculcated that into their work and even into their delivery system. So when I talk about the higher education right now, leaving apart your higher secondaries and secondary education. So these, with particularly these kind of platforms, we are adding a lot of simulation techniques. We are adding out here a lot of, you must have seen even in the medical profession that was used to say that without human intervention, there are surgeries now that are happening for knee replacement surgeries. There are heart surgeries which are happening, and we are advancing at that stage that AI is taking care of your even the medical part, even the medical sciences, because that is one of the last things that we inculcate into. So adaptive learning. So if you talk about that, so these are the certain platforms which are using it and are prominently successful as well. Another thing is automated grading and assessment. So this is a very, very useful thing that should be done instead of like checking and then analyzing each and every sheet. And the way I think traditionally we are working out. So the grading system is something that can be, I think, into the education that can also be upgraded and changed. As far as like where I am concerned or the way I am using it, the first thing that I've put up is the assessment part. So even if it is computer applications, even if it is in the management part, so all we have started doing is we have made it project based. So it has got into the critical and analytic thinking. Also, the gradings are done without biasness. Also, the gradings are done in a way that it helps the student that this part was not so good, or maybe this is your improvement areas. You should start reading about it. It is giving comments on each and everything. The assessment is more proper and more accurate. So I am not saying this kind of dependency that humans are not able to do it, but this is one of the areas if you are having a repetitive work, or maybe it is something like an automated thing is required. So yeah, assessment is something that it can be inculcated into, and education should have the automated grading and assessment system. Another one is your predictive analytics for student success. When I talk about predictive analytics, see, once a student joins up for some kind of a program, it could be a UG program, it could be a postgraduate program, or you can say even the research part or the PhD part, if anybody is joining up for that. So what is your predictive analytics? With a set pattern that you're following, with a set system that you're following, there is and prediction, there could be analytics that we can say, okay, this would certainly lead to this. As we say, certainly to a motivation thing, we say, if we have a habit of doing certain things in a way, and by gradually doing it every day, every month, and it leads to a particular results or success. Similarly, when I talk about predictive analytics, it is the repetitive actions, like the kind of work, the kind of studies, the kind of learning, the kind of assignments that person would be taking, and it would be ensuring that after completion and in a certain way completion of the things, that you would be having the success rate would be high. And this is something which is very important, because once anybody joins you or any institute that we joins, and the way we deliver it, the main motive and the main purpose behind that is the success of that very particular candidate. And it could be any field chosen by that very person, and it could be into any areas. So it will just not only ensure that it will open up those kind of gates for that person, that yes, you will also feel that the association that you had and the way you use the analytics things made sure that the student or the learner is having their success rate increase. Another thing is that AI teaching assistant and chatbots. I know most of you must have heard and must have been using that into your day-to-day life and curriculums. We are replacing now. We are not saying that we're exactly replacing that the work or the teachers with that, but we are adding teaching assistants right now. I don't know how much of you feel that or not, but teaching is something which is a cumbersome job, and it requires a lot of efforts and patience. So for that, if there is an assistance, if there is an help that you can get, so what is the harm in it? So I particularly and personally believe it will give you the time for a lot of dimensions that you can touch, lot of other learnings that you can do, and also can increase your horizon and scope, because your repetitive task and your those kind of tasks which requires extra efforts, they would always be an assistance into that. So in education today, teaching assistants, that we must have seen that also. If any research scholar works under you and you have such kind of in criteria, so ultimately they are there to take care of some of your work. So ultimately it acts like that. So when teaching is such a cumbersome and such a profession which takes a lot of effort, so it helps you out into that, and it has been inculcated. Another one is your content creation and recommendation engines. So now, how earlier it used to happen, how we used to create the content. So we used to go through a lot of books, we used to go through a lot of reference materials, and then we used to search about it. A lot of research papers we used to read, see, like Google Scholar is there, ResearchGate is there. There's a lot of such kind of, you can say, help and materials is there. So with the inculcation of your AI into that, it not only streamline that process that exactly takes you to it, you do not have to use it for creating a content. Maybe it is reliable, maybe it is not. See, DeepSeek has its own issues, and other engines also have their own concerns and constraints also. But when I talk about using it for content creation, so how can you use it? For example, there is a topic that I'm working upon. My research area was about neuromarketing. I was working on neurosciences and neuromarketing. And that area I was inculcating into management and doing my research into it. So now, once that kind of an research work was going on, so AI tools, how would they benefit it? Not for creating the content, but just to provide you the guidelines how you can route things to the exact point. So it makes you reach to that area, maybe that you will not be able to have it from your own research. So there are ways that you can use it, give commands in such a way that it will tell you that these are the files, these are the sources, or these are the recommendations that you can work upon. For example, in my area in Australia, there was a lot of work on that. And probably this domain was comparatively new into the marketing as well as the management field, because I was inculcating neurosciences into that. So it just told me how I can connect to that particular thing, what data I can collect. So it just simplifies your work. So it's not something that you have to take exactly, and also gives you the recommendation engines that these are the platforms that can be used for. So yeah, this was the point that I wanted to take when I talk about AI in education. Now taking it ahead. So that was the most important thing, because things revolve around ethics, and as person also, and as the considerations that we are having right now. So I personally believe, if you have ethics, if you have like personal your way and dealing things, then there would never ever be an issue and never ever be a concern. The way we think, the way we provide the information, and the way teachers touches the mass learners or the audiences ultimately decides the impact that they are going to have. So it is not only about the ethics into the your AI part, but it is also about the general that one should be having. So when I talk about the ethical considerations out here, so my major, there are certain concern areas that I'm going to take. First one is your data privacy. See, whenever there is going to be an AI without data and without, if you want to have more accurate results, if you want to have more reliable and more congenial results, then ultimately data privacy is something which is a matter of concern. So secure handling of student data is one thing that should be focused upon, that should be taken care. So apps which are reliable, see, these AI tools now, there are a lot of you can say availability of resources is there as comparatively, if I say maybe 5 years or 3 years back. So the things, and it is a rapidly growing market. So when I talk about that, so ultimately the way and which tools are you using? Institutes are going to take up which resources that matters, and the way we are using it, how we are securing and handling the data of our particular institute and students who are joining us. And also, not only us, the way we are doing it, and the way it is being used. You have to sensitize them. What kind of information can be put, what should be avoided, and how they can be benefited out of this. So these are the areas. First, you have to learn it yourself and then apply it. And then obviously you can just go ahead and teaching them. See, one of the benefits that I think about AI, and that is one of the beautiful benefits that we have. Maybe it has not to do with the ethical consideration, but I would like to add that point out here. So when I talk about this, it has given you an edge. Sometimes I feel like that. Earlier when I used to take classes and all that. So once you meet your students, and the way you go into your classes, and the way you have started getting the responses for them, and ultimately, the way they are using those AI tools is making the learning experience more better and more enriched right now as comparatively to the previous ones right now. When the things are available at a click to you and they're very easier to use, if we do it in a very right way, ultimately it would lead to have more, you can say, concrete delivery, as well as more concrete and reliable information sharing, as well as I find that the sessions get more interesting now with the right use of these kind of data and implications. But if you're using it just for the copy pasting or are submitting your assignment, not checking the plagiarism of it, then it is a complete different scenario. Then it is a tool which is giving you the shortcuts and ultimately making you pass. So this completely depends upon the way we are following it up. And as the professors and as the person who's taking charge, leading up and changing up, so this exactly comes up into our hand, that we need to be now more careful, now more even more dedicated when it comes to your plagiarism part and the way we are using it. Another one is your algorithm biasness or algorithm bias. When we talk about algorithm, it means if you're searching something, your SEO, you're searching engines, just pick up your algorithm and then it shows you the areas of your interest. You must have seen that you have checked something on the Google and you just was trying to look out for something. And now if you open up any application, for example, you go to Instagram, you go to Facebook, you maybe go to LinkedIn, you are seeing this similar kind of thing. So what does that mean? It has picked up your algorithm that might, if you're interested into this, let me show you all the relevant content and as well as any which is related to that area now. Now, it could be related to sales, it could be related to forcing you up or changing your opinion and thoughts about that thing. It is the way it impacts you. Now, there could be algorithm biasnesses or algorithm bias that we can have. So avoid that unfair outcomes because it will lead your brain. It will try to change and impact you in such a way, maybe you were not thinking it, but it leads to in such a way that it will be showing you all these kind of news and these kind of stories and these implications. It is from a personal experience also. Maybe I was searching about something. There was a tragic accident that happened and it was for that Air India flight. The crash that happened. So once I was just going through how yeah, I think we got disconnected in between. Am I visible and audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, perfect. Let me just reshare my screen and we'll just restart from it. Hope the screen is also visible.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So in that case, we can just move ahead. So yeah, as I was talking about the particular thing and which is related to your algorithm. So we were talking about, I was just giving you an example that was reading about the Boeing company and how that things have happened. There was some the conspiracy theories that it was having, and it was a major accident that has happened and which shook the aviation industry also. And such kind of accidents are there, and we lost so many lives also. So I was reading about this company called Boeing, the aircraft ones. And once it just picked up my algorithm because I checked it up at 2, 3 places. What is it all about and how we are checking up the efficiency of the aircrafts? And before flying them, is there any kind of checkings that we do? Because ultimately, like within certain meters, you can say 400, 500, 600 meters, we can see the drop also. It just don't took up the flight. So it just started showing me certain informations which was related to your the cultures and the biasness it was telling towards people, and it took it on the religious aspect as well. And personally, I avoid such kind of an interfaces because these are personal opinions. So ultimately, I think algorithm is something which try to changes up your mind and the outcomes related to it. So got to be careful out there. Then let us talk about the transparency. AI decisions, when we take it, it has to be explainably transparent. When I talk about they have to be clear, they have to be concise, there cannot be any gray area. So when things are black and white, it has to be very, very clear. So when I talk about transparency here, the decisions that you are taking, the kind of tools that you are using, so your ethical considerations specifically impacts it. And ultimately, it should be in such a way and explains you in such a way that it keeps it transparent. Now that takes us to the forward one. The next one is your academic integrity. अगर हम किसी भी चीज का मिसयूज करते हैं या एक्सट्रीम यूज करते हैं, ऑब्वियसली उस चीज के इम्पैक्ट्स होते हैं. सो अगर हमें एकेडमिक इंटीग्रिटी और एकेडमिक चीजों को बचाना है, सो उसका सही इस्तेमाल करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. सो वन हैज टू बी वेरी प्रिवेंटिंग so that we are not misusing it, we are not overly using it, and it raises the ethical concerns when it comes to all of these things, data privacy, algorithm. And when I'm doing academic integrity, so there are certain points where you need to put a stop. So we should know when the things need to be stopped also, so that we can ensure the integrity as the authenticity and ultimately the ethical part of your data and your AI tools are in the best possible way or manner being used. The line comes up as inclusivity. When we talk of inclusivity, everyone is developing their own things and also ensuring that maybe you must have seen some people are pushed to the excel a lot of things just because they had the knowledge about it, just because they were born into that particular area. Maybe they could eat it in a certain way. In a developed economies, the way things are being taken up, the advanced R&D that goes beyond it, the way their education system works up is different. So when about AI specifically out here, it has to be inclusive. It should not be like that. It is reaching to a particular mass of audience, but rest of them are not having the good impacts or usages of it. So as a teacher, we have to be firstly self that much learned that how, when, and where we have to use it. And then another one that comes up is we
Sorry
have
to
to
interrupt you,
ensure
ma'am.
that it is reaching the big. I'm
Ma'am,
sorry, I
your
couldn't hear
audio
you.
is lagging. There is some network issue at your end.
Network issue at my end. Is it
Yes.
clear right now? Am I like audible, and is it going consistent now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can we continue?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay. So as I'm talking about the inclusivity out here, it needs to be ensured that the equal as well as the overall access should be given to all the learners, and it should not be something like that one mass audience has it and the other ones are not having it. So it should be divided it in such a way that it is equally distributed among all, and each and everybody can have a benefit of that. Certainly, I feel like that while doing is the human limitations that comes up. Because if we will not be able to think, change, and do it and use it in an ethical ways, then we would not be able to also like teach, make others learn about it, and go somewhere we can do it. So the human limitation has to be taken care, has to be removed. Then only we can just work upon on the considerations for specifically the data, the algorithm, and the transparency, the academic integrity, and the inclusivity that we have talked about here. Now let us talk about the practical implications that we can have. And when I talk about the practical implications of it, just give me a second and just get back. Yeah. So when we are talking about the practical implications of it, how we can just use it, inculcate it, and I will be just sharing some practical insights also out here. So implications. Now, faculty roles are evolving with AI integration. As we are day to day using it, you must have seen our way of responding to things, our way of learning to things is also changing. And we are integrating it into our day to day work. Obviously, the learners are also going to integrate into it. And also they are going to take the takeaways from us. So the way we are evolving and the roles are changing right now, one needs to be that advanced that they start using these kind of tools. I don't know how much we are used to of these, but there are a lot of simulation games which are there, which not only students who have a practical idea of it. Let me give you an example to this is Nestle. How does the packaging, the as my first work area was given, how does the particular component, say the brand, each and everything, and there are simulations on it. You can be working as a product manager, taking up certain decisions, throwing up some courses on you to check in that particular spot what you have done and how did it just that out. So you give your responses, you give your answers, and then it analyzes your result, your point of view, and gives you a, oh, this might
Dear participants, there is some technical glitch. Please do not leave the meeting.
So I was giving you one of the examples that happened, like Maggie case study was there, in which there that and in the entire country there was a rage that we could see because the standards of the food and the food grade standards were not met, and ultimately there was a certain thing which happened. So I would deep dive into the case from like it started from the Kolkata and there was a drug inspector. So I would just not go into the details as we use it that are similar to I think if I just stop the audio, it could work better. Let us just try that way for this right now. I hope it will work out better. Am I audible to everyone? Is it going into the flow? Good.
You're not audible, ma'am.
Audible to you right now?
No, ma'am. Your voice was not clear.
Okay, let me try a better network. just move a bit, thing that could help out us. Let me just check out with this. Give me a second, please. I'll just keep the video on the off only. Have it taken, and I hope I'm audible right now.
Your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Am I clear right now to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I just moved on a bit. I hope this helps out. I would be just keeping my video on off to give it a better shot. And if there is anything in between, please, you can just intervene and let me know. Fine. So I was just giving an example of the Maggie case study that we had, and the I was telling about the simulation games, that if you have been a product manager, and what would you have done into that very particular situation? Would that have impacted the brand image of that company? How you have dealt with that particular area? And as a lead, what is your response to such kind of an emergency that your organization can have? So if you will inculcate such AI integrated apps, the games or the simulations or the techniques or the data structure, if you're really working upon, so with that evolvement and integration, your work will also be simplified, and also there would be other angles to learn from it. Another one is curriculum redesign to include AI literacy. See, what happened earlier was, when we have to sensitize everyone about the environmental things, the Supreme Court ordered, and we inculcated the environmental sciences as a subject into the courses. Similarly, I'm trying to tell you, if we have to sensitize, these has to be the permanent as well as the mandatory the courses that should be added. That will not only make the generation, the learners AI literate, as well as tell them to use it in a manner which is beneficial to them. So curriculum needs to be redesigned. Even the present system that we are having, even the present things that we are taking, we need to indulge the AI tools and AI things into that as well. Another one is your balancing automation with human touch. When I say, see, these things go hand in hand. So none is going to be replaced, or if we think like that, that AI is going to be there and it is going to change and shift everything. So it is just going to change the repetitive task that we are doing. It is going to take up as it is going to be with there as an help perspective, another helping hand to you, instead of as an replacement, but you being used into the right way. Infrastructure and cost considerations. So when we talk about AI, it not only reduces that, but also helps you out and gives you a perspective that how betterly things can be managed now with the given resources. Ultimately, the efficiency and effective use of resources has to be there, because there is no abundance. So there will be a right usage of things when it comes to even cost consideration as well as the infrastructure. AI is going to be a tool and help material only. The last point that I would like to take here is continuous training and professional development. So it is one of those things which need to be done on a continuous basis, and not on the or not on the irregular intervals. Abhi kiya and then we just stopped it, did certain courses, did some certain DPs, and did not inculcate into your work. To stay updated, to stay relevant, and to stay in an advanced notion, the continuous training as well as professional development is needed. There is a very good example how Japanese education system is changing, the way they are taking it, and the way it is being used by them. They have very beautiful case studies. One can just check those out, and it is available on the name of like Japanese case studies or AI intervention into their curriculum, their pedagogies, and their delivery way. So this is a continuous training and through professional development. That is how it is happening. So let us just move forward to the another one that I had. Let me just give you some case studies as well as examples in the way as I use them, and also let me give you some practical insights about it. There are always AI powered plagiarism detection. So this also comes up as a question if everything is like copy pasted or take it up from certain kind of sources. So there can always be a detection sources behind that. There are tools for it, be it your Grammarly, be it your Turnitin. There are certain things which can be used, and there are advanced tools even beyond and above that, which can be taken into consideration as well as used by the institutes to ensure their smooth work. Another one, there has to be an early warning. When we say prevention is better than cure, that is the term which comes up here. You should always tell them, you should always sensitize them the risk that it could bring. Once we sensitize them, once we tell them that these could be the repercussions or these could be the cons of it, then ultimately we are able to channelize their energy, also tell them the right way to use it, because the earlier you tell them that this can happen, the more you can say aware and educated they would be while using those tools. The case study says the virtual labs and simulation in management education, particularly when it comes to management education. Now, virtual touring, virtual labs, chatbots, and these kind of support systems are there, which is going to be helping the management education specifically. And each and every one. So they are not only going to have the practical idea about it. See, earlier how we used to do it, we used to ensure that they are having their field visit, industrial visit, or internships just to have an idea. Just have an idea about how the management, how the organization works out. Now that can be initiated and that can be inculcated into the course itself through some virtual labs, through some economic systems that we can have, and the simulation games that we can provide them, the techniques that we can provide them, and then they can learn through it gradually. Another one is chatbot for 24/7 student support, just see and humans capacity limitation as well. So these kind of helps is always going to remain. And this is services which are going to remain like throughout the 24 that you can say, which can help them clear a certain thing at a very particular point when they want it. So these are the things that it can be used into. And if I have to like personally go with the examples and insights from my journey, I inculcate the learning management system LMS with the AI progress tracking. So we do have a system in which we track the program, have a markups in between. And through that markups, what we do is we keep on checking it from time so that not at the end or at the ultimate end semester or your program that they're highlighting those kind of concerns. So AI-based progress tracking is what we have inculcated into the LMS system. Also, there is an analytics dashboard for the faculty. Now, that it is AI-generated analytics dashboard, it will just keep on pinpointing, gives you the data and as well as the analytics that things might need to change. And here we might be wrong, or maybe if we are on with this speed, we will not be able to complete a certain task. So their dashboard is is representing the exact analysis as well as the pointers to them which they can use and help them out. And also we start record sessions with your transcripts. So this is also one of the ways that it could be used for, and also predictive analysis to identify learners needing the interventions or the changes or the part that they need. So this is also something which can be taken care and done. So when I talk about studies, and we can just go about it and use it. we're moving towards the last leg of this, so opportunities, when I talk about managerial education, what opportunities is it going to provide, and how is it going to be? So the opportunities first comes as simulated business environment powered by AI. You will have such kind of virtual labs, such practical examples that is happening, your day-to-day life things, how you can improve them, and also with the particular course, how it can be inculcated with your interest areas. So you can have all these dimensions touched up, as well as they have their tools which help you do that. It also does your real-time performance tracking in projects. So if anything that you are doing related to your any project you have taken up, any internships that you have taken up, it just gives you so that this is to so this is and fair, which is very practical and realistic and can be worked by the learner. Another one is data-driven personalized learning, focuses upon person to person, focusing upon the customized version of it. Also, data is based particularly about you or on you. So there are also the another one that is there is industry-linked AI case discussions. So when I talked about industry-linked AI discussions, it's about the cases that we can take. Now, the education has to be practical. Ultimately, we have to go with the skill-based things right now. And when I talk about the ultimate skill, because as we can see that the even the government, even the policies that we are having is based on the skill development of people. So ultimately, you have to see that AI case discussions are being done and industry-based discussions we are having. The last leg gives with the enhanced research capabilities with AI tools. So not only it is going to give the fair idea, expanded horizon, but also going to provide you the capabilities and ideas that you can think with the AI tools and use them in that very particular way. Yeah. Now, what is the role that we have when we talk about ethics, when we talk about what is the role that we have into the AI era? And when I talk about it, it is not only mentoring or guiding, it goes beyond your content delivery right now. So you have to be a critical evaluator. You need to learn certain things and get yourself well versed with the AI tools so that you know what are the benefits, what are the pros, cons of it. The way we have learned the management or the education or the system that we have followed, we have to go a step beyond that, and ultimately has to be a critical evaluator of these tools. There are a lot which are available into the market, which keeps on coming up. These platforms are launching it. So you need to think which one goes best, have to apply those and then go about it. So critical evaluation of AI tools is mandatory. The last leg goes is ethical guarding for responsible AI usage. If we are the ones who are going to guard this and responsibly use it, so we can stay assured that the generation that we are is ahead, and then the ones that we are teaching is going to have the best possible outcome of that. So first, one, we inculcate this and use it in an ethical way, then only we can teach others to have these limitations, and these are the progressive things that you can have. So ultimately, one has to act as a guardian. And also, I would like to add here, then one, not only the guardian, but also the one who is helping out in using it very responsibly and in a very right manner. The last leg goes to innovator in pedagogy and AI support. With that, now your deliveries. Now, with that, your pedagogies will change, your delivery systems will change, and it will not only be acting as an innovator with the AI support, but also we have The way the traditional systems have worked and the way we have taught it, now the things are going to be particularly changed into that also. So we are going to be having an innovative pedagogy with the AI support. I'll just take a minute out. So activity do is breakout discussions. So identify your ethical risk AI tool that you use. So things that are wrong, the things that could go beyond. So you have to think a step ahead of it and need to have the breakout discussion sessions. Another thing is share strategies to integrate AI ethically into your subjects. Now, when we are talking about inculcating into that, so we need to have these strategies also the way we are going to integrate it. It is not an application that we are going to tell and then they by their own that it could be used to any extent. So you need to devise strategies also and integrate AI ethically into your courses, into your subjects or into your curriculums. Debrief as a group to compile best practices. So once we work together and once we compile the best practices that works for everyone, that works for the academic and the education system, then I think it could be used in a best possible way. So yeah, that was the part from my end. And when I talk about the ethical and practical aspect, there are certain points that, as in few things that lastly I would like to add here. And that will be like I would be providing you a roadmap that it should be used as a way. Start. So when I talk about ethics and when I talk about AI, just do not avoid it. It is like starting small. At least are that are the which are available and we should be starting to inculcate that into the book. Train difficulties, have more such sessions where we can go and deep dive into the depth of those tools, can see the pros and cons of it, also to collect the feedback. Now faculty as well as your learner segment, we should always be asking them, collecting the feedback from them, that the implication of it and the way it has been used, was it effective for them, was it something that if they would like to go like more into it, so ultimately how they are using it, how it has helped them, a feedback mechanism should be there. Another one is create policies for ethical use of AI. There has to be some guidelines, there has to be some rules and regulations which should be provided beforehand, before the start and before the use of it, so that it is always kept in mind. Those policies, those ethical usage, those certain standards are always kept in mind before going with certain kind of apps and things. And now scale what works for you, discard what doesn't. So it is a place or a situation where you have to, while learning this, while applying this, you have to say what works for you and what could be discarded that does not work for your system, your academic things. And I'm sure it is not about replacing the teachers or the academics. AI purpose is not them. It is actually about empowering them so that they are inspired and actually can lead it in a more better way. So this is a kind of a roadmap that you can say we can have. Now, the closing that I would do with the ethical and the practical aspects of it, take care of your data privacy and make sure that things are not leaked. The kind of apps that we are using are taking care of your data. Then you just check the algorithm by basis and also the kind of searches and optimization that we are doing. There are nothing that should be kept when it comes to AI and these kind of tools. There's nothing that should be kept into the transparent, non-transparent podium, as I repeat that again. So there has to be no gray areas. It has to be into black and white. So that things are clear. It will always lead to your ethical consideration. It will always give you those kind of results and make it more inclusive and as well as equally accessible for everyone. Yeah. So that was all from my side. That was all from my session. We are open to take any further discussions or questions that we can have that could.
Now, ma'am, I would like to take up some questions from the chat box.
Go
Question
ahead,
is,
please.
what would be your opinion on lack of creativity because of excess usage of AI? I repeat, what would be your opinion on lack of creativity because of excess usage of AI?
See, how that works out, it's a good question because it completely depends upon the way you are thinking about it. We are saying that AI is hampering your creativity, your ideas, and it is not going to provide you or is going to hamper the way you think. But in actual, the case is different. Maybe if we think it in another way, there is always like two sides of the coin. So if you think it in an other way, there would be a thing. Maybe the areas that you're not even able to think about, maybe the horizons that you're limiting yourself to, it is giving you an idea about it. It is opening more forums for you. It is opening more areas for you that you can go ahead and read about it. See, human capacity has certain limitations. I'm not saying here that we will not be able to do it, but if something is there which can give you a readily available things, an idea, an area, or an expertise opinion on it, it depends upon you. You take it or you do not take it. The results that it is showing you, maybe you would be able, maybe you would like to take it, maybe you would not like to take it. But the ultimate aim of these tools is not to hamper your creativity, but to act as an helping hand for you so that it can open up more horizons, or you can say more areas for you, give you more guidance on it, and ease up your process. So this is the way, and this is the purpose of these tools is. Now what has happened is, we can say that generally they have been started using it for your basic things also. So that is why we feel like that ultimately everything is done through AI, everything has been drafted through them. We do not put our thought process into it. It's just a copy paste system going on. So ultimately it is like that it is taking your creativity away or taking your thought process away. It is just the efforts that we are not putting up. It is just the horizons that we are not ready to touch it. So it is an advanced tool. So earlier, what used to happen? There only used to be libraries, and there used to be only reading material and books there. Then came the search engines. Search engines like your Google search engines, they came up. Then we started using having lot of information just on a click away with us. So do we say that Google took away our creativity? But we are saying that for AI because we are using it for that kind of purposes and hampering ourselves. As per my point of view and as per the way I look up at it, it isn't helping and giving you and providing you the ideas that sometimes you are not able to think about it. Maybe your mind is occupied into so many things. So that would be my take on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Bhavna.
So next question is from Ravi Kumar. Should AI generated content be credited as an author in academic research? May I repeat?
See, so, yeah. Is
Should
that
a
done, or there is anything this
Yeah, it is
part
done,
of it
ma'am.
as well?
It is
You
done.
just read it again for me. Maybe we just
Okay,
got
ma'am. Sure,
interrupted
sure.
in between. Yeah.
Should AI generated content be credited as an author in academic research?
So see, if you are doing, thank you for this question as well. So sir, if you are doing an authentic research, you are following the ethics yourself. You know the difference between right and wrong. So there is a very thin line in between that. So these tools are there to help, not to take the whole content, the whole research area. So research is indeed something which has its own way of going ahead with. So once we are talking about specifically your research areas or those domains, if you think the content taken for particular research work, no sir. Ultimately, there are tools which would be telling you that you have taken it from here. So there are going to be plagiarism tools. These can be only your helping areas. As I quote this example also, I was doing my research area into a field which was particularly new. Just I told you, it was related to, it was a combination between neurosciences and neuromarketing. So just to have the more, you can say, broader horizon, I came up to know through such certain tools only that ultimately there is researchers in Australia as well as in Germany on the same field. So it is giving you an idea. It is broadening your thought process. But if you're saying you just take up a content from that, do not. If you just take up a content from that, do not check it reliability also. Do not cross confirm those content also. And also there are certain tools, for example, your DeepSeek, your Perplexity, or your ChatGPT. If you even going to ask the same question to this gives you a little different data and different kind of your results also. It is not the similar one. If you just even compare these three things or these three tools, just as I mentioned, it will give you different kind of results also. So it is on you. It should never ever be used. Even the assignments or even the project work that you get from your learners or from your students, you should always be check. We never used to go with the plagiarism test that much. We only used to go with thesis or the research work that we were doing. That was prominently we were taking care when it comes to the plagiarism report. We used to calculate for the project. But now with the codes or with, you can say, even the CSE or the application streams that we are having, we really need to see where the content has come up from, how much efforts has been put behind it, and how relevant, true, and exact that is. It cannot be like a copy pasted thing coming up used for, even now we can just up the formats, even the way it provided. Ultimately, you can just come up to know that this thing is like that. So it should not be used, not at all. Yeah, thank you. I'm just getting some comments like it was informative session. Thank you so much for each and every one of you. There was a large audience that we had, and it is a common sharing platform that I wanted to add. Nobody is like big or small. We all are related to one industry, and that is academics, and getting together here just to learn and share the things that we have done. So yeah, thank you so much. If you found the session informative, as well as uh, my my objective was more to sensitize about it.
Ma'am, could you please take up some more questions?
Yeah, I could just
Yeah,
take one
okay, okay,
two more.
okay,
If
sure.
you time,
So,
take more, ma'am. Yeah, please go, ma'am.
yeah, ma'am. The next question is from S. Swanlata. What are the widely used free ethical checking tools in AI that help ensure fairness, transparency, privacy, and accountability? I repeat, what are the widely used free ethical checking tools in AI that help ensure fairness, transparency, privacy, and accountability?
Ma'am, as you're asking me, what are the tools that you should be used? It depends upon the area, and it also depends upon the domain that you're using it up for. If I particularly talk about the management aspect of it, then there are certain tools. If you're just checking up some kind of an assignment, then you can go for Grammarly. Then you can just go for Turnitin. So these are going to be the tools that you can use up just to check the plagiarism aspect of it. Now, when you go with the advanced version of it, or there was one thing also which was coming up like as your super AI or these kind of things also. I just read it. I would like to take that as well. So, ma'am, it just depend upon that. There are tools which, for example, somebody is using Quillboard just to change the language and rephrasing or paraphrasing things. So even the advanced version of Quillboard can also tell you, if you just have to click on that. So even it can tell you with the advanced version that it has been reframed or paraphrased through it. So I do check it. Sometimes there are certain assignments or certain research work which is there, which has been paraphrased or reframed. So there is a lot of that kind of tools are there. Even the research scholar does that. But if you just apply certain see, ma'am, these are the same kind of AI tools, but these are the advanced and the paid versions of it. So once you go with the paid versions of it and apply that file or upload into that, it tells you where you have picked it up from. So it's certainly, if you're asking me what exactly ethical tools are there are a lot of applications. There are a lot of tools which are there depending upon the project that you're using. For example, if you're doing any simulation games or you're checking up for any that kind of an aspect of it, then there is a check, there is a parameter also on it. So it tells you that it is going wrong here, or it just makes that area completely red. So that ways it can be checked, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So the next question is from Vikas Sharma. When will super AI will come in research? If it can, then why should we rely on human research? AI can do research more scientifically that time. Let me repeat. When will super AI will come in future?
Yeah,
If it
it
if it
will be there.
can, then why should we rely on human research? AI can do research more scientifically that time.
Sir, I think so. For that thing, let Super AI come, let those programs come up, let it get more refined. Also, I would be also checking on it. I also just try to keep myself updated on what new changes are coming up. But I had a point of view on it. Similarly, the way we take it that when there is an AI, it will remove the human things. It will only empower you more. So it will now the ethics would come into more play. How good, how scientifically, and how the way you are using it. Ultimately, this would be the refined version of it, but human intervention is going to decide the way it is going to be used, the effectively it is going to use, the impact that it is going to create. So it will be dependent completely on that. So yes, there is going to be changes. There is going to be when AI is going to get more powerful. So ultimately, you will say that no human intervention would be required, or ultimately it would be able to do the work in a more better or more efficient way. No, it has to be in the control of the commands as well as the way you will do it. Ultimately, you have to maintain some privacy and have to remove the bias aspect from it also. So it depends completely on that. So see, this is a future aspect. Let's see how does the things turn up.
Okay. So the next question is from Mr. Deepak. He asks whether excess use of AI will ethically hamper humanization and ethical aspect of every area of human risk are on risk.
So there is a that would be my last question for today. Thank you, Deepak. And see, sir, excess use of anything has its own pros and cons. So when it comes to when you will be inculcating that into each and everything, your dependency is going to be a lot more on those tools. That is where we started the first question also. That then your creativity is going to be hampered also. You need to know where to put the stop for the things. You need to know that what is right and wrong. Human brain is designed in such a way, it has been taken up in such a way that ultimately it will tell you that you need to stop it. Now you stop or you do not. That depends. Also, that the way you asked me, ultimately, you want to repeat the question. I just got zoned out from it. I had something to add to it, but the question just skipped out of my mind. Bhavna, you got to repeat the question for me,
Yes, ma'am.
the one that Deepak asked.
Okay, ma'am. Whether excess use of AI will ethically hamper humanization and ethical aspect of every area of human are on risk.
So when we say ethically, it is going to hamper or it is going to stop or it is going to affect or impact? No, the answer still lies into it. The way you use it, the ethically you use it, how you use it. And also there is, if we say, if there is an excess of anything, that it is obviously going to bring some kind of an issue and some kind of an concern. But ultimately, it depends. On the usage of it, the institutes, the academic way we take it. Also, that see, AI is such a big thing. Ultimately, the government interventions are also into it. So there are guidelines, policies that comes up through them also. We have that information broadcast ministry also and other aspects to it also, which deals with it. So it depends. Not every country has it. So ethical aspect is being taken care in many ways. So excess use of it also will have its own effects and impacts. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing our doubts so well. A heartful thank you, ma'am, for such a thought provoking session. The way you connected ethics with real implications of AI in education truly gave us a lot to reflect on. We are grateful for your time and wisdom, ma'am. Thank you.
Bhavna, it was pleasure having you, and the way you hosted it, it was perfectly good. And I am also indebted. I am very glad that a lot of of us joined the session at this very point of time, the working hours we had, and they stayed throughout the session. I wholeheartedly thank each and every one of you for being there with me throughout the session. And thank you to Ishan as well for saying this. That was my side. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I take your leave now?
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Okay, perfect.
Participants, we are now taking a short break of 5 minutes. Please do not leave the meeting.